In 1867, Kansas State University held its first commencement. 3 women and 2 men graduated that year. As the first land-grant university in the nation, this fledgling university had a vision of providing innovative education to all people. That early vision has continued through to the present, with over 250 majors and a diverse student body, including students from all 50 states and more than 100 countries. Becoming one of the nation's top 50 public research universities by 2025 is today's vision for tomorrow. With academic programs among the best in the nation and professors who are leaders in their fields, Kansas State University is an international leader in teaching, learning, service, and research. Today's graduates join over 200,000 alumni who are proud to call K-State their alma mater. Congratulations, and thank you to all those who have supported them through their undergraduate experience at Kansas State University.
Well, good morning, everyone. And if you're able, would you please rise and join Mr. Paul Maisbach in the singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. And I welcome you all to the fall 2015 commencement of the College of Arts and Sciences at Kansas State University. My name is Peter Dorhout, and I am the Dean of the College. And this is a happy occasion to which we particularly welcome parents, spouses, relatives, and friends of our 2015 graduates. We are here this morning to honor these graduates and to congratulate them with their successes in the completion of their rigorous programs. They follow the path of a diversity of people who came before them and impacted our community here in Northeast Kansas. This community has had a human presence that exceeds more than 13,000 years, and we honor them today in our celebration. We honor the many diverse people who lived and traveled across these plains: the Arapaho, Cherokee, Chippewa, the Comanche, Iowa, Kansa, Kickapoo, Kiowa, Osage, Otoe, Pawnee, Potawatomi, Seneca, Shawnee, and Wyandot. We also honor the people who came and settled Kansas and Manhattan, and the diverse agricultural community that developed here. And shortly after statehood, the first 52 students came to these grounds that we now call Kansas State University. Now, whether you know this place as K-State, Kansas State Agricultural College, or KSU, it has been home to many graduates who came before you, many who were the first in their families to attain a college degree, and many K-State alumni stayed in Kansas out of love and pride in the area. And today we honor all the people who came before and all the people who contributed to your success. I'd like to just take a moment and introduce the platform party and ask that each member of the party stand as their name is read and remain standing until all have introduced. Mr. Paul Maisbach, graduating senior of Applied Music with a concentration in vocal performance. Ms. Amy Button-Renz, President and CEO of the K-State Alumni Association. Dr. Donald Saucier, 2015-16 Kaufman Chair for Distinguished Scholars. Dr. Louise Benjamin, Associate Dean. Dr. Allison Wheatley, Assistant Dean. Dr. Kirk Schultz, President. And Dr. April Mason, Provost and Senior Vice President. Dr. Kimathi Choma, Interim Assistant Dean. And Dr. Beth Montalone, Associate Dean. Please join me in recognizing the platform party. You may be seated. We wish to recognize the heads and representatives of all of the departments in the College of Arts and Sciences. Could each individual stand as their name is read and remain standing until all have been introduced? Beginning with Aerospace Studies, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Martin. American Ethnic Studies, Dr. Yolanda Broiles Gonzalez. Art, Matthew Gaynor. Biochemistry and Molecular Biophysics, Dr. Phil Kleba. Biology, Dr. Brian Spooner. Chemistry, Dr. Eric Mata. Communication Studies, Dr. Tim Steffensmeyer. Economics, Dr. William Blankenau. English, Dr. Karen Westman. Geography, Dr. Charles Martin. Geology, Dr. Pamela Kempton. History, Dr. Michael Crisco. Journalism and Mass Communications, Dr. Birgit Vasmuth. Mathematics, Dr. Andrew Bennett. Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Miedema. Modern Languages, Dr. Derek Hillard. Music, Theater, and Dance, Dr. Nora Lewis. Philosophy, Dr. Bruce Gleamore. Physics, Dr. Amit Chakrabarti. Political Science, Dr. Jeff Pickering. Psychological Sciences, Dr. Michael Young. Sociology, Anthropology, and Social Work, Dr. Laszlo Kolchar. Statistic, Dr. Wei-Ching Song. Women's Studies, Dr. Angela Hubler. Please join me in recognizing these heads of our academic departments. Our speaker this morning is Dr. Donald Saucier, Associate Professor of Psychological Sciences and Kansas State's 2015-2016 Kaufman Chair for Distinguished Teaching Scholars. Dr. Saucier is also the Director of Undergraduate Studies, Chair of the Undergraduate Program Committee, and Co-Director for the Teaching Apprenticeship Program in the Psychological Sciences Department. His teaching philosophy focuses on maximizing the levels of both teacher and student engagement in the classroom, and he has taught a broad range of classes at the undergraduate and graduate levels, from large sections of general psychology to small classes in advanced psychological research methods. His numerous awards and honors include the Putting Students First Award for Outstanding Service to Students and the University Distinguished Faculty Award for mentoring of undergraduate students in research. He has dedicated his career to students, and we are grateful that he is part of our college. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Donald Saucier.
Good morning. It's an honor to have a few moments to speak to you today, and I want to be one of the first to congratulate you on the culmination of your years of hard work and dedication. There are certain things that once you have them, they can't be taken away, and your college degree is one of those things. So congratulations. As graduates of Kansas State University, you will be Wildcats now and forever. I remember graduating from college almost 20 years ago. It was a morning ceremony like this one, and I recall experiencing so many emotions. I was excited to be finished, but I was sad to be finished, and I was scared to be finished. I was glad to have my degree completed, but I liked college. I liked college life. I liked my college friends. And I didn't really know what was going to happen next. College was safe. I knew what to expect, and I was anxious about entering real life. I imagine many of you sitting out here can share these feelings with me. You're ready to be done with college. You're ready to move to the next stage of your life, but at the same time, maybe you're a little apprehensive about doing so. So don't worry, I have an assignment for you. Even as you complete Kansas State, I want to give you the opportunity to think of yourselves as students for just a little bit longer. And I think this is probably my last opportunity to give you some homework, so I'm going to take that opportunity. First part of this assignment is I want each of you to take some time to celebrate this important accomplishment. I know that you probably don't need me to tell you to do that, and several of you are probably wishing I would just shut up and let you get on with doing that. But I want you to think about and reflect on what you have accomplished. I want you to think back to your successes and be proud of yourselves for them. I want you to think back to the obstacles that you've worked through and be proud of that too. And I want you to think about what it means for you to have completed this challenge. So please do take the time to give yourselves the credit for what you have done. We as faculty are proud of you. Your families and friends are proud of you, and you should be proud of yourselves too. Second part of the assignment is I want you to take the time to thank the people who believed in you and helped you get to this point. Many of us, myself included, got to where we are because others were there for us. They sacrificed for us. They supported us. They took care of us. So please take the time to let them know that you recognized and appreciated their support. Now, the third and final part of this assignment is inspired by an experience that I had as a college student many years ago. I, like many of you, had a summer job to help pay for college, and I spent my summers as a day camp counselor. I had a group of 10 to 15 12-year-old kids under my care. One afternoon, my group and I were just hanging out at the park at the end of the day, waiting for their parents to pick them up, and at the time, I was the member of my college's track team. And on that day, I happened to be wearing a t-shirt with a picture of a hurdler on it. One of my kids asked me about the person on the shirt, and I told him the person was a hurdler. He asked me what hurdlers do. I told him they ran really fast and they jumped over stuff. He asked me if I was a hurdler, and I said yes. Now, some of you may see where this story is going. The kid looked around and saw one of those big 50-gallon metal trash cans. And he said, "Hey, can you jump over that trash can?" I said yes. He said, "Well, jump over it again." I said, "Well, I just don't want to." And at that point, he and all of the other kids in my group started to heckle me. And they said I was scared. And they said I really couldn't do it. And the heckling didn't let up either. More kids got involved. They got louder and taunting me for not showing them I could jump over the trash can. And it became clear to me I was going to have to do something here. Now, what happened next is a decision that I've thought about many times since that moment. I could have ignored the heckling. I could have demanded that they stop. I mean, this isn't even peer pressure. I was in charge of them. But I didn't ignore the heckling, and I didn't make them stop. Instead, I decided I was going to jump over the trash can. Now, I wasn't stupid, or at least not completely stupid. I stretched out a little bit. I thought about how I'd run up to the trash can. I got myself ready. So after a couple minutes, I was ready to go. I geared myself up, and I ran toward the trash can. I remember my feet running along the grass. I remember the wind in my face. I remember my kids cheering me on. I remember bringing my lead leg up and starting my jump over the trash can. But I also remember putting my lead leg in the trash can. You see, hurdlers are taught that whenever they're actually in the air jumping over hurdles, they're losing speed. They're taught to get back down on the track as quickly as they can to re-accelerate and run faster. And while a hurdler is maybe an inch deep, a 50-gallon trash can is much wider than that. So as soon as my lead leg cleared the front edge of the trash can, my training kicked in, and I snapped my lead leg down into the trash can. Now, at this point, I'm going to help you visualize exactly what is happening here. You see, when hurdlers put their lead legs out front, they have another leg out to the side. And as my leg in that bent position was coming toward the edge of the trash can, I was about to lose a battle with the laws of physics. The pain that I experienced as the side edge of the trash can jammed into very tender parts of my body was blinding. I went down in a heap. I think I screamed. I probably cried, but I was definitely covered in trash. My kids were laughing mercilessly, so I put them all on timeout, and in the moments that I had to clean up the trash, I had some time to reflect. I thought about why I decided to try to jump over this trash can. I thought about how much power I allowed these kids to have over me with their heckling. I thought about how fascinating their ability to manipulate and influence me was. And I thought about the power that we have over other people with our thoughts and actions. And at that moment, I knew I wanted to be a social psychologist. I wanted to be someone who, over the course of his career, tried to understand the science behind the social impacts we have on each other. My decision to jump over the trash can and my failure to do so led to my future career. And the work I've done throughout my career, I'm still fascinated about questions about why people do things they really shouldn't do. Why do people make prejudiced judgments about others without getting to know them first? Why do people still discriminate against others on the basis of things like their race, their gender, their sexual orientation, their religion, or their appearance? How do people rationalize hurting other people? How do people rationalize their decisions not to help those who need help? Why do people maintain beliefs despite evidence to the contrary? Why do students not love every class they choose to take? Why do teachers not love every class they choose to teach? These research questions on which I've built my career were inspired by my trying and failing to jump over a trash can almost 20 years ago. So the final part of the assignment that I'm giving you today, I want you to be bold. I want you to take some chances. And I want you to jump over some trash cans. Although I do recommend you take this challenge metaphorically and not literally. Sometimes the challenges and opportunities that present themselves to you will look daunting, and you don't know for sure if you're up to it. But give it a shot, because no matter whether you succeed or you fail in that attempt, you'll learn something you never expected to that can have a meaningful impact on your future. Just make sure you stretch first and keep that lead leg up. It's been an honor talking to you this morning. Congratulations on your wonderful accomplishment. Please remember to celebrate it and to thank the people who supported you. Thank you.
Don, thank you for teaching us about the value of the double dog dare. Amy Button-Renz, President and CEO of the Kansas State Alumni Association, will bring you greetings from the K-State Alumni Association. Amy.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be part of your special day and offer congratulations on behalf of the Kansas State Alumni Association, representing more than 178,000 graduates who will be your lifelong K-State family. Today, as you receive your degree, we are honored to recognize you and all you have accomplished. We are also here to welcome you into a new relationship with your alma mater. Our mission at the Kansas State Alumni Association is to lead and inspire lifelong involvement that will benefit Kansas State University and all members of our Wildcat community. I would like to share 3 of our core values that guide us in our mission to keep you connected with K-State. The first one is link. The Alumni Association provides the lifelong link that alumni depend on to remain connected. You can stay in touch through hundreds of alumni activities held on campus, around the country, and internationally. Another value is tradition. You will likely celebrate a few traditions today as you sing the alma mater or take KSU photos on your favorite spot on campus. The third core value is purple. For K-Staters, it's more than a color. It's a symbol of pride and connection. When you see someone wearing the K-State purple or a K-State class ring, you will feel that sense of family. In recognition of your graduation, the College of Arts and Sciences and the Alumni Association are providing you with a complimentary 1-year membership to the Alumni Association. Enjoy the membership benefits and continue to be an active member. Our alumni are among the most loyal in the nation. In fact, you are now part of the #1 alumni association in the Big 12 Conference for the percentage of graduates who are members. And I'm also proud to share that we have been #1 for 19 consecutive years. That loyalty is shared worldwide by generations of K-Staters who have the same passion for K-State that you feel today as you earn your degree from one of the finest universities in the nation. The Alumni Association is also pleased to present you with an exclusive alumni business card holder. We hope you enjoy it. As you go through life and your titles and addresses change, please be sure to let us know. We want to make sure you are always connected to your K-State family. Congratulations and go State.
It's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Kirk Schultz, the 13th President and Professor of Chemical Engineering at Kansas State University, to tweet the conferral of the degrees.
I've sat through a lot of graduation ceremonies and heard an awful lot of speeches. I think I put both feet in the trash can most every day, so that will stick with me for a long time. Will the fall 2015 graduates of the College of Arts and Sciences please stand? By the authority of the people of Kansas and the Kansas Board of Regents, and upon recommendation of the faculty, I am pleased to confer upon you, the class of 2015, the respective degrees you have earned at Kansas State University. You may now move the tassel to the left side of your mortarboards. Congratulations. And let me add to the graduates, good luck on your finals this week.
Please be seated. Thank you. Now, will the marshals please bring the graduates to the podium to receive their diplomas? Graduates, please note that you will receive the diploma cover. Your diploma, when you have completed the requirements and finished your finals next week, will be mailed to you.
I'll try. Good morning. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in American Ethnic Studies. Valerie Patricia Korpenning. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Applied Art. Kathleen Iris Elizabeth Lococo. Yasmin Ramos. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. Tiana Renee Brooks. Rochelle Victoria Carter. Darlene Elizabeth Clark. Chad Thomas DeVore. John Thomas Dugan. Morgan Rochelle Fialtail. Mike Frost. Grant Christopher Hahn. Jenna R. Karam. Erin Kathleen Killeen, graduating cum laude. Alexandra Danelle Klemovich. Heather Ann Lawrence, graduating magna cum laude. Daniel Edward Ney. Alexandra Adele Olson. Spencer Boehm Pellant. Kendra Leah Smith. Jocelyn Gabriella Ziegler. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in biochemistry. Jessica Claire Wheeler, graduating cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in biology. Eric Acosta. Mia Signa Carlson. Matthew Ryan Dobson. Ryan W. Estes. Emily Nicole Jimenez. Rachel May Lease. Dominica Jacqueline Marquez. Megan Jocelyn Murray. Justice Ehlert, graduating summa cum laude. Marcelo Sabatos, Associate Provost of International Programs, and Gabriela Diaz de Sabatos, Assistant Professor of Women's Studies, present the diploma to their daughter, Sofia Sabates. Kelsey Ann Souza. Janair Woofter. Cecilia Rose Wirtz, graduating magna cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Fisheries, Wildlife, and Conservation Biology. Dylan Marcus Richard Heideck. Emily Suzanne Hedden. Ashley Lynn Lysick. Jordan Ray Salva. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in microbiology. Dalton Dacus. Zachary Ryan DeMars. Jacob Lee Hoffmeyer. Geneva Tucker. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry. Ernest Mack Harwell III. Adam David Schodelmeyer. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication Studies. Miranda D. Arrocho Cameron. Morgan Scott Burns, Sr. Nikita C. Grover. Sean Anthony Meyer. Nathan Jacob Somi. Kevin William Terrell. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics. Chad Eric Heselius. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Economics. Okay. Delcio Bueno Oliveira Alberto. Okay. Abdulrahman Hayaher. Abdulrahman Adan Al-Hikari. Oh, well, sorry. Brady Eric Armstrong. Ryan M. Cates. Caleb Michael Fair. Michaela Cecile Gleason, graduating summa cum laude. Nathan Edward Klecker. Nicholas James Scherer. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in English. Cara Leota Abershan. Abby Sharon Kopp. Caitlin Ann Wilson. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Geography. Ian Ridley Palmer. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Geography. Caitlin Elizabeth Dye, graduating magna cum laude. Spencer Jameson Ford. Mitchell Lee Horner. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Geology. Michelle Frances Page. Austin L. Shook. Cale Matthew Stone. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in History. Garrett Lee Clarice. Jacob Lee Jordan. Michael E. Kirkpatrick. Victoria Lynn Sears. Timothy Evan Thomas Suttle. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in History. Timothy Baker. Casey Callahan. Michael Vernon Offerman. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communication. Megan Helen Heron. Sierra Catherine Holt. Lindsay Elizabeth Rhodes. Haley Jordan Smith. Brianna Noel Wilson. Haley Michelle Zitar. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Mass Communication. Chloe Mae Austin. Austin Michael Barnes. Catherine Lee Bobine. Emily Carolyn Brannon. Taryn Danae Carmichael. Jared Eugene Clark. Ellen Ryan Collingwood. Jenny Lee Cooper. Mary Claire Miller Cunningham. Jeremy Bernard Davis, graduating summa cum laude. Morgan Leela Elder. Simone Alice Givens. Marissa Page Hakey. Michael Dean Higgins. Leah Marie Hill, graduating magna cum laude. Jessica Lynn Halloran. Lauren Catherine Holtmeyer. Ina Malaquez. Andrew Michael Murphy. Amy Pond, graduating cum laude. Stacy Marie Riley. Shelby Renee Rushing. Matilda Louise Sharp. Allison Marie Shubatowski. Haley Charisse Tejada. Mark Vaca.
The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Life Science. Sophia Maria Alonso. Rayla Bocci. Samuel Vincent Bruna, summa cum laude. Lauren Ray Curry. Ashley Nicole Dollard. Chantil Dawn Fry. Emily Michelle German, magna cum laude. Grace Marie Keller. Zachary Lee Nelson. Callie Elizabeth Verslis. Austin Lynn Webbs, magna cum laude. Kelsey Alyssa Webbs, summa cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in mathematics. Ashlyn Heptig. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics. Ashley Morgan Hauser. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in modern languages. Daniel Kenneth Revard. Maribel Sanchez. Dale Ann Wow. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in music. Aaron Mackenzie Fisher. Paul Kenneth Meisbach. The following students will receive a bachelor degree in music education. Samantha Nicole Boxberger. Robert Stephen Larson, cum laude. The following student will have her degree posted by her mother, Gloria Freeland, Assistant Professor in Journalism, Mass Communication, Presenting to Catherine Joanna Vaughn, summa cum laude. Leah Charlotte Watts, magna cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in theater. Heidi Michelle Floyd. Angelica McInnes. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in theater. Elizabeth A. Cook. Megan Kathleen Mack. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Physical Science. Victoria Renee Shaw. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Physics. Lauren Himes. Jeremy Pogue. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science. Justin Alexander Mainzer. Matthew Brennan Sondergaard, magna cum laude. Logan N. Stadell. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychological Sciences. Jennifer Ann Chisholm. Carrie Ann Sierra Keck. Christopher Michael Wynn. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychological Sciences. Brendan Alexander Evans. Jason Brandon Hall. Paige Elaine Kallenberger. Sarah Elizabeth Renitz. Marissa Nicole Sego. Erica Julianne Sharon. Emily Marie Cease. Yue Zhang. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Social Science. Lauren Elizabeth Barr. Kelsey Ann Chalmers, cum laude. Charles Joseph Grape. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Social Science. Zoli Hang. Adima Toko McCarthy. Chong Wong. Jakira Denise Witherspoon. Marley May Arrowsmith. Jocelyn Elizabeth Barnes. Madison Elizabeth Baum. Aaron London Bennett. Whitney Ashley Bolton. Naomi Marina Chinchilla. Connor Jack Cooper. Judy Ray Sturdivant Duggan. Alexander Mark Ficken. Garen Austin Hess. Tiffany R. Hines. DeAndre Lamont Johnson. Jordan Christopher Coopersmith. Rachel Elizabeth LeBay. Erica Nicole Leesky. Michael Joseph Mezzacappa. Foster Ryan Moore. Alexis Oscar Morales. William Barkley Mosier. Chance William Mulder. Blake Madison Smith. Samuel Peter Smock. Taylor Ray Stewart V. Abby Rose Thomas. Nicole Lee Walker. Co Dalton Wise. Altavis Circel Williams. Nathan Dean Williams. Hi. Tyrone Williams. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology. Jasmine K. Davis. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Sociology. Shelby Nicole Buchanan. Charles Brandon Buss. Tyler Spencer Davis. Michael R. Finley. Danielle Marie Genshork. Sean Lee Manthorn. Travis Christopher Morocco. Denzel Isaiah McDaniel Sr. Caleb Ford Mattil. Cheyenne Simone Miller. Adriana Estefania Olivas. Matthew James Olson. Vanessa R. Pacheco. David Allen Pfeiffer. Drake Andrew Pfeiffer. Kristen Ray. Hillary Lucille Rosecker. Joseph Cleed Runquist, cum laude. Akeisha Sherrod Smith. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Anthropology. Melissa Renee Mayhew, cum laude. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Anthropology. Alexandria Frances Bright, cum laude. Jordan Alec Casey. Jonathan Allen Grieg. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Social Work. Leanna Catherine Luddington. The following students will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in social work. Nicole Christine Bobbitt. Jenna Lynn Doms, cum laude. Jaylyn Elisa Montgomery. Shauna Danae Prescott, cum laude. Stevie Lynn St. Clair, cum laude. Heather Lynn Wamsley. Savannah Marie Whipple. Brittany Rochelle Wright. The following student will receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Women's Studies. Claire Elizabeth Tolentino.
Last but not least this morning, congratulations. Pull your rope up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fall 2015 graduating class from the College of Arts and Sciences. Now, the heart and soul of any institute of education is the faculty. This group symbolizes the intellectual contributions of the hundreds of full-time people at Kansas State University who have had such a positive influence on our graduates today and made them who they are. I would like to ask the faculty to please stand and join me in recognizing their contributions. Thank you. Now I'd like the graduates to join us in recognizing another group of people who have contributed much and perhaps received little recognition in their impact on you today. Would the parents, spouses, family, and friends of the graduates please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, new graduates, thank you for participating in today's celebration. Thank you, advisors, for all you have done to help these students realize their potential. And thank you, family and friends, for sharing your friends and your family with all of us. And now, for the first time as alumni, I will lead you in the KSU cheer. You have to cheer along. You don't know how hard that is doing it in a gown. Now, with the awarding of the last diploma, I want to take a final opportunity to express my appreciation to all who've participated. I want to thank the members of the platform party and the other members of the staff in the Dean's office who've worked very hard, some behind the scenes, to arrange for the orderly conduct of this ceremony. Finally, I wish to thank our marshals, Betsy Cobble and Kent Kirby and Charles Martin, as well as Professor Pickering, our organist, for their participation in the ceremony today. And above all, on behalf of the faculty, I want to thank the graduates for sharing part of your lives with us. Now, those of us who make our careers in higher education do so and enjoy the privilege of associating with people like you. You make a difference in us as we make a difference in you. We hope we've been able to have an impact on you the way that you have impacted us. Whether in the classroom or doing research or sharing some service time together, we are changed because you were here with us. Now, corny as it may sound, it reminds me of a lyric from the alternative backstory of The Wizard of Oz, Wicked, by Stephen Schwartz. And it goes like this. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something that we must learn, and we're led to those who help us most to grow, if we let them. And we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe it's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I got to know you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I've been changed for good. It well may be that we'll never meet again in this lifetime, so let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, whatever way our stories end, I know I've rewritten mine because of you, my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by the wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a bird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, and because you knew us, we've all been changed for good. Now, lucky for you, I didn't try to sing that. But we will conclude our ceremony with a song. So graduates, please join in the singing of the K-State alma mater, this time as alumni. Now, if you need help, the words will appear on the screen. While Paul Meisbach returns to the podium, a couple of reminders. Now, first, after we finish singing, we ask that our audience please remain seated until the platform party has recessed, and our new graduates, please wait until the marshal directs you and your row to rise. Faculty may exit through the tunnel. We would appreciate it if the graduates and faculty would greet each other in the upper concourse near the ticket booths. The College of Education is scheduled to begin their commencement ceremony at 10 o'clock. And now with that, I am proud to turn it over to Paul.
Me
Well, it's time to go forth and celebrate your graduation. Be proud of your accomplishments at K-State, and once again, everyone, congratulations, happy holidays, and a happy new year.